Released by Mistwalker in 2007 on the Xbox 360, Lost Odyssey would be a modern RPG adventure in a magic industrial world featuring many traditional mechanics. Directed by Daisuke Fukugawa and written by Hironobu Sakaguchi, who also created Final Fantasy, alongside composer Nobuo Uematsu, the game would be the second major project released by Mistwalker Studio. For story, the game features an immortal named Kaim alongside 8 other characters, though up to 5 can be fielded and battled at a time. For gameplay, combat is turn-based in which character actions are selected from a menu and executed in initiative order. Melee attacks can be empowered for extra damage using a timing mechanic, and spellcasting times vary based on the character's own attributes as well as the spellcasting time itself. Battles not only reward experience, items, and money, but experience for skills too. Skills for mortal characters are learned by normal leveling up, while skills for immortals are learned either from equipment or from other mortals. Enemies in the back row take reduced damage until the front row is eliminated, and initiative order may be rearranged based on the time an action takes to execute, or if it's interrupted and delayed by taking damage. The game also features a crafting system for equipment, a monster arena, a large overworld map to explore with a variety of vehicles, and many optional quests for bosses, spells, and gear. The story only gets larger from here, so let's cut it down to size with a recapitation. As the game begins, we are introduced to a world where 30 years ago, magic energies suddenly manifested within living creatures, spurring a magic industrial revolution. Now, technology, industry, and culture have rapidly grown and transformed, also resulting in how war is waged. We now see a massive battle between the nation of Uhra against the nation of Kent escalate to showcase the advancement in magic industrial technology of both nations. A strong warrior named Kaim is centerpiece to this battle, practically a one-man army as he decimates the Kent forces. Suddenly, a menacing meteor fills the sky, surprising everyone and incinerating both sides of the battle indiscriminately as Kaim is washed over with fire, yet he walks the ruined battlefield unsurprised and unscathed. Additional Uhran forces arrive, are amazed at Kaim's survival, and escort him out, though inside the transport he meets another officer of the army that also miraculously survived, a woman named Seth. When they arrive back in the Magic Republic of Uhra, the Council summons only Kaim to answer a few questions. It's explained that most of the Kent forces were on that battlefield and subsequently lost, so Kent now wishes to broker a truce agreement. Uhra is also concerned because a massive amount of their own forces were also lost, and so are vulnerable to another force, the Kingdom of Gohtza, who were suspected of leading Kent to invade Uhra and confirmed to supply them with weapons. Even the meteor crash may have been a plot by Gohtza, as the situation at Grandstaff may have caused it. Grandstaff is under the jurisdiction of a man named Gongora, who claims he knows nothing of this incident, and construction of Grandstaff is underway. Without a strong standing army anymore, relying on Grandstaff seems to be Uhra's main line of defense now, but Chairman Roxian states the best course of action is to halt construction of the staff until the allegations of it and the meteor are clear. Now calling Kaim in, they thank him for his service and note his nickname of the Immortal, wondering how he survived the meteor impact, but even Kaim isn't sure. Gongora now steps up to claim Kaim is immortal thanks to a spell he himself conjured. Asking Kaim for confirmation, Kaim replies he has lost most of his memory and cannot recall, and Gongora conveniently adds the spell is also a curse and likely kills those who hears its secrets. Roxian then does not press the issue, instead bringing up that since Kaim is immortal, they have a special mission for him to investigate Grandstaff and find out why communication has been cut off there. Kaim now mentions there is another immortal named Seth, and it's determined she shall also join him in this mission. Gongora again insists they not halt the Grandstaff project, but sensing something, Roxian instead proposes the Grandstaff control be transferred to the Council, and until Kaim returns with its report, Gongora will be confined to his home and placed under surveillance. Meanwhile, Kaim continues to have nightmares of a woman and a little girl, but does not know who they are or if they are just dreams or fragments of his lost memory. Leaving to prepare for his mission, he notes he's being followed and catches his pursuer. Grabbing him by the throat, the man gasps out that Gongora asked him to find him and tell him to go to his manor, and as Kaim lets him go, the man introduces himself as Jansen, a messenger for Gongora. Choosing to believe him, Kaim makes the detour, though at the same time, Tolten, a former prince to Uhra, as Uhra has now adopted a republic ruling system, defends his former teacher Gongora and fully supports the Grandstaff Magic Engine project. As Tolten leaves, he takes note of Kaim waiting outside, and within, Kaim is asked to take Jansen with him on his investigation of Grandstaff, boasting how quick, cunning, and resourceful he is. He also mentions Seth might be dangerous, as she was a former pirate, and even he does not know why she is currently in the army, and so he's the only one Gongora can trust. Outside, Kaim meets up with Seth, who mentions she also cannot explain her immortality and amnesia, but cannot shake the feeling they've met before. They wait for Jansen, who stumbles in late, drunk, and with a girl under each arm. Seth is less than enthused about their party member, but along the way finds the mountain roads there something she somehow remembers. As they stop to rest, Jansen reflects how Gongora secretly told him to use a strange black marble on Kaim or Seth if they ever started to regain their memories, but is starting to second guess that order. Meanwhile, Gongora breaks his house arrest to save Tolten from someone poisoning his meal, claiming there are those who wish to see the monarchy restored and those who oppose this, wishing to end the royal bloodline. Tolten himself does not wish to be a ruler, but Gongora stresses this goes beyond what he wants. As Gongora leaves, it's revealed this ruse worked, and they will continue to push Tolten until he's ready. As the party crosses over the mountain peak, they spot Grandstaff in the distance, and the light around it suggests a magic leak, while Kaim knows he's seen it before in his past. As they enter the construction base for Grandstaff, a technician there explains their communications have been jammed due to a malfunction, and magic energy has been leaking non-stop ever since. They don't know anything about a meteor, but a few days ago the magic runoff was so high they had to evacuate, and Seth notes that was the same time as the meteor strike. Stepping in and surveying the site itself, they find local monsters have infested the work zone and begun feeding off the magic energy. Dealing with the dangerous monsters, they opt to head to the control room now, but are halted by a legion of troops from the neutral kingdom of Numara, who demand they step away from the staff. Unafraid, Kaim and Seth face them down with a reluctant Jansen behind them, but while the Immortals can easily cut them down, the Numaran forces make investigating impossible. Jansen ignites a magic leak behind the enemy, detonating it and pushing back the Numarans who cannot cross the wall of flame. However, the destabilized magic backfires as a magic storm suddenly builds above them and strikes Kaim, knocking them all out. Waking up, they find themselves captured and imprisoned by Numara, as the man who captured them, General Kakanis, knows they are from Uhra and demands to know how Grandstaff caused the meteor fall. However, they are interrupted by a report that the ship they are on also suffered damage from the magic storm and needs to return to Numara for repairs. Curiously, they even hear the Queen of Numara is here, though Kakanis refers to her as only a figurehead. Seth mentions she's having memories return about Numara and suspects Kaim is having memories resurface too, though he says his come in the form of dreams. As they are secured in their prison pods, they find they are on board the White Boa, the royal vessel for the Queen. Kaim again has dreams of his past, only now he also sees a man in the shadows, and the name Liram comes to him as well. Jansen again recalls his deal with Gongora, agreeing to use the black magic crystal on Kaim in return for a huge reward, as it will muddle his memories again. Instead, he chooses to use it to help them all escape by befuddling their guard. Seeing what the crystal does and knowing it's from Gongora, Seth feels she understands more of what's going on, but still thanks Jansen for his quick thinking and fast talking to free them. As they sneak around to escape, they come across a garden and Kaim suddenly has a flood of memories return to him, but states all his past does is bring him pain. Jansen then hears the Queen playing her harp in the next room, and his skirt-chasing habit compels him to at least catch a glimpse of her rumored beauty himself. He slips away as Seth suddenly recalls she actually used to be friends with the Queen, named Ming, and even has her pendant. As Jansen approaches the Queen, he is indeed taken aback by her grace and beauty, as he tries to work his charm on her before casually casting a spell to put her to sleep. As he trips up in his attempt to take her with him, he alerts Kakanis to them, as Jansen tries to slip away with Ming. He hides and rests a bit in the engineering room, pausing to save a bird about to be hit by some steam, which Ming observes as him actually being kind-hearted. Surprising Jansen, she reveals she was only pretending to be asleep, as her powerful magic begins to petrify him, and she admits she was testing his intentions from the start. She sees he's not a bad person, and he points out Kakanis is actually taking advantage of her, but she still refuses to run away with him and allows him to be captured again. However, when they return to Numara, she says for the sake of peace they are now free and allowed to roam their city as travelers. Though to the side, this is a trick by Kakanis, who explains to Ming that as enemy spies, they will be followed and lead them back to who they work for. He reminds her Uhra poses a threat to the world with Grandstaff, and so they need to learn as much as they can about it. In fact, because Grandstaff conjured the terrible meteor earlier, Kakanis states he and the other military authorities have already approved the motion to seize Uhra as a preventative measure. Ming completely objects to starting a war, and Kakanis states her isolationist policy of peace is putting Numara behind in the world, and creating peace through military might is exactly what he intends, with or without her. As Kaim and the others leave outside the main city, they find a ruined, abandoned portion of the city just outside, along with some kids who are safeguarding some unique flowers. They say their mother loves these rare flowers called tender flora, rumored to make people happy, and as Kaim looks on, Seth warmly handles the two kids, who introduce themselves as Cook and Mac. A rush of memories flood into Kaim again as he recognizes these flowers, but some Numaran soldiers come by and harass the kids and the flowers, though Cook and Mac don't back down from staunchly refusing anyone to pick them. As tensions escalate, the group finds themselves in a fight over the tender flora, and after chasing away the guards, the kids invite them to their house to rest as thanks. As they introduce them to their mother, the group finds her terribly ill, but suddenly their mother and Kaim pause as they recognize each other, and Kaim realizes this woman is actually his long-lost daughter, Liram. Taking her hand, Kaim's memory comes more into focus, as he now remembers Gongora was there that day and compelled Liram to jump off a cliff, and ever since Kaim thought she was dead. As Kaim and Liram share a long overdue hug, he also remembers his wife Sarah, but Liram breaks the tender moment, stating she doesn't have much time left in this world. Liram then turns to her children and says that while he looks very young, Kaim is indeed their grandfather whom she's talked much about. Losing life quickly, she says goodbye to all of them and passes quietly before them, glad that in the last few minutes of her life she could see her father again. At the same time, Gongora creates Mudmen in his secret laboratory, as we now see Tolten reflecting that he isn't as strong as his father, and finding himself suddenly under attack by strange Mudmen. Suddenly, Chairman Roxian comes out, stating Tolten needs to die so the people can have no hope of the throne being restored, and forced to defend himself, Tolten cuts him down. Gongora then conveniently arrives on the scene just in time to confirm the kill, but says he'll cover this up for a distraught Tolten, as when they step away, it's revealed it was just an illusion. At the same time, Gongora has actually sent a magic viper to assassinate the real Roxian, as he states tomorrow Tolten will be a very busy king. Back with Kaim, he remembers how Gongora caused him to lose his memories and rewrite them as a soldier of Uhra, and Seth believes erasing their memories was a part of his plan to claim the world for himself. Kaim remembers two others like them, and they figure it must be Kaim's wife Sarah and the Queen of Numara, Ming. Kaim mentions he already grieved for Liram the first time he thought she died, but this time her death has given him a driving goal of finding Gongora and making him suffer. The next day, Kaim, Cook, and Mac send off Liram at her funeral. However, the next day, Mac leaves them a note saying he was entering the Forbidden Crimson Forest, which is where one can meet the souls of the dead. As Kaim offers to help Cook find him, Seth remembers this forest is cursed and stained red with blood because of the failed invasion against Numara by the Eastern Tribe army that died there. Cook helps the group with her strong support magic as they work to free Mac, who got possessed by a vengeful lingering spirit. Afterwards, Mac is concerned as the experience has stirred a new power within him, which Seth explains is the Eastern Tribe that drew on natural energy around them for incredible strength, and is also the failed army that died in the Crimson Forest 500 years ago. Their possession of him has left him a successor to their power, as they have him travel with them to help him understand it. Returning to Numara, they witness a breaking announcement from Tolten, formally stating the death of Chairman Roxian and the re-establishment of the Urin monarchy again. Seth is convinced this is more of Gongora's plotting, especially as Gongora is anointed as royal advisor and second-in-command. They then show footage unknowingly gleaned from a spell put on Jansen that shows the White Boa being outfitted for war as the impending invasion by Numara is exposed. Kaim and Seth realize Jansen has been used to spy on them, and Jansen admits he was originally in it just for the money, but his role was to just keep an eye on them, denying he even knew about the bug. However, Kaim is unafraid, as he states Gongora is free to know their movements all he wants, as there is nothing that can stop Kaim from getting to him. Unfortunately, the citizenry of Numara now blame Kaim and the group for being spies that led to the sudden conflict between their countries. Kakanis now rolls up on them with a tank to capture them, and Kaim opts to surrender to prove fighting will not solve anything here, insisting they speak with the queen. A sorcerer steps up to strip Jansen of a magic eye lens that has been allowing someone to see through his eyes, but agrees Jansen himself would not have been aware of its presence, claiming only a very powerful sorcerer could cast it. With no other use for Kaim in the group, Kakanis orders them to be executed, forcing Kaim to defend himself, but a distraction from Cook and Mac strips their enemies' defenses and lets them escape. As they navigate through the castle, they discover Ming's chambers, and it turns out Cook and Mac know Ming personally as well. Seth tries to remind Ming of how she and Kaim were all comrades once, but Ming doesn't recall that. As Kakanis is quickly behind them, Jansen urges Ming to trust him as he uses her as a hostage to exit the situation, and she leads them out a secret passage through the back. Kakanis gives chase in a tank anyway, though the group is able to defeat the foolhardy general once more. As they have a chance to breathe, Ming goes on to comfort Cook and Mac as she is informed of Liram's death, and now makes the decision to follow along with the group for now, as it seems there are questions she can only have answered on her own. Seth thinks to steal a ship from the docks, and when there, Seth finds they are building an experimental new watercraft for Kakanis with a powerful engine that actually used to belong to Seth from her pirating days. Cook is enamored with the fact Seth is a pirate and volunteers herself as her apprentice, as Seth takes command of the Slant Nose and blasts off with their new ship. As they are safely out of harm's way for now, Ming admits she has dreams and the nagging feeling she's forgetting something important while also questioning her immortality. Kaim states that the 5 of them, including Sarah and Gongora, were once comrades with a 1,000-year agreement, coming to this world to accomplish something important, and in doing so were made immortal and unaging. At the end of the 1,000 years, Gongora betrayed them all, but because he could not kill them, he instead sealed their memories and brainwashed them. As proof they were once friends, Seth returns the pendant Ming gifted her 200 years ago, and starting to believe her, Ming insists they go see Gongora next, which Kaim was already planning to do. Unfortunately, the Slant-Nose cannot cross the ocean hypercurrents surrounding Numara, and so Ming recommends they visit Gohtza for now, as they have made the most progress with magic technology, as well as represent her country diplomatically in requesting aid from the king there. As they pass by a powerful monster called an Arthrosaurus that's been turned to stone, Ming suddenly has a flash of memories come back to her as it seems her own memories are gradually returning. Seth's are as well, as she suddenly remembers her son Sed, and regrets now well up inside of her. Now making land and moving forward on foot, they pass the village of Tosca, where the villagers all remember Kaim, though he fails to remember them, as apparently he once saved the village decades ago and even lived here. In fact, the house he and Sarah used to live in is now occupied by a sorceress who put up a strong barrier blocking their route to Gohtza. Heading there to do something about the barrier, they find the mood suddenly haunted. Strange locks, gem puzzles, and hidden passageways highlight the lingering malice of the mansion, as Kaim starts to remember the happy life he used to live here with Sarah. They find the sorceress, who seems to be under a self-harming curse herself, and lifting it, they find it's actually been Sarah all along. She fell into despair, blaming herself for losing Liram, and still doesn't even recognize Kaim. Kaim is at a loss for how to help her, but Cook and Max step forward and begin to sing the lullaby their mother sang to them, which was the same lullaby Sarah sang to Liram, and hearing this calms Sarah for now. Kaim rushes to her side, and while she still hasn't recovered all of her memories, she now recognizes Kaim and knows they are married. Unfortunately, he breaks it to her that Liram has already passed, but has also left behind children of her own, as he introduces Mac and Cook to their grandmother. Feeling her heart more at peace now, the powerful sorceress Sarah now joins the group alongside the rest of her living family. They ask her to now lift the seal on the cave leading to Gohtza, and she explains she set that up so Gohtza could not invade through there and catch Tosca in the middle of a war, but helps them open the way now. As they travel beyond, they pass through a town where strange things are going on, and take notice of an unusual yet powerful magical source beyond the sea. Investigating, they are surprised to not only find an experimental staff in the middle of storm-tossed waters that somehow no one knows anything about, but also spot Gongora walking around in this facility. Tailing him, they also learn this site was the experimental site where the magic engine was first being tested before Grandstaff was formally constructed, and it's being dismantled so Grandstaff can have the parts it needs to be fully operational as soon as possible. In fact, the dismantling here is causing the magic leaks that are causing the strange effects back in town. Gongora himself weakly stumbles into a room where he resists the call of a strange voice urging him to return. Approaching him, the group confronts him on sealing away their memories, and Gongora notes they have not completely remembered everything yet. He claims they're all traitors who forgot the purpose of them coming to this world and try to take over with their immortality until he stepped in and stopped their atrocities. Though, he spots Kaim's grandchildren and promises to kill them like he killed Liram and lock away their memories permanently this time. Refusing to tolerate such a threat, the group clashes against the powerful Gongora, but find themselves fiercely overwhelmed by his raw magical power. The group loses soundly, but before Gongora can finish them off, Tolten arrives and is puzzled by the scene. Gongora assures him they are assassins, even the children and Queen of Numara, and leads him away with the rest of the parts of the facility, expecting all of them to simply sink to the bottom of the sea now with his lab. Watching as his old staff self-destructs, Tolten fearfully watches the dark turn in Gongora. As they are knocked unconscious, Liram's memento on Mac and Cook springs forth with spiritual energy left behind by their mother that revives them and empowers them to revive the others. Kaim and Sarah feel Liram's spirit in this energy too, as the group recovers and hurries back to their ship to escape the sinking staff with minutes to spare. The lightning from the staff's collapse fortunately tears a path forward to Gohtza through the ice canyon, so the group has a more direct path ahead now. Cutting through the snowy plateaus, the party now reaches the magic industrial city of Gohtza, where they see its king make a public announcement eagerly readying the country for war. The group spots the royal carriage pull into the station as Kaim is nudged by a stranger who drops a particular coin that Kaim recognizes and thusly follows. Cook and Mac go to take a closer look at the carriage as the group splits up, as Jansen and Seth escort Ming to the king of Gohtza. Understandably, the king is cautious that the queen is not only showing up unannounced, but as they approach him closer, they are surprised to find the man on the throne is actually his decoy. Rather, the stranger that beckoned Kaim is the real king, as he welcomes both him and Sarah as old friends. He wonders why there was a rumor they abducted Queen Ming, but Sarah assures him she is actually a fellow friend and immortal. The couple saved the king when he was young and brazen 50 years ago and helped him grow into the man he is today, for which he is still thankful. However, he admits to them he will soon meet with King Tolten to discuss how to actually avoid war. He requests they be present for this discussion as observers, and they agree, under the condition he tell Tolten that his advisor Gongora is also an immortal with his own agenda. They then request Queen Ming attend the discussion as well, and request a ship capable of traveling the rough ocean in order to reach Uhra themselves. They all agree to see each other again shortly, as at the same time Cook and Max sneak onto the station platform to take a closer look at the trains when they hear from an old woman that a violet aurora is a phenomenon that acts as a gateway between the living and dead and allows those of this world to see spirits. She mentions the traveler of a nearby train saw this aurora just now, and Mac insists they go to see the aurora and their mother's spirit. Jumping on the nearest train, they end up messing with the train's controls and driving the train out, while at the same time the decoy king is just an attendant who reveals the real king is going to meet King Tolten on the royal train. As they meet back up with Kaim and Sarah, they all end up heading to the same train together, but learn that Cook and Mac hijacked another train to chase a rumor of meeting the spirit of their mother. The train to meet the king is going in the opposite direction, and so the group splits again, with Kaim and Sarah going to rescue the children, and Ming and the rest going to meet King Tolten. As Ming sits in on the meeting, she opens by revealing Gongora's state as an immortal, as well as his plot. She urges Tolten to destroy Grandstaff to prevent another catastrophe like the meteor strike again, but both kings state the benefits the staff will bring to society overall. Gongora is listening in on the conversation with Tolten's help, and Gongora tells him to ally with the king of Gohtza and even agree to hand over the blueprints to the staff. He then mentions that as piracy has increased due to the significant loss of military recently, he has dispatched all of his forces to mopping them up and showing Urn's strength, and has succeeded in capturing the most feared pirate on the seas, a man named Sed. Seth gasps at learning that her son is alive still, as Tolten reveals they will help Gohtza build their own Grand Staff as part of their new alliance. Ming objects as she insists the path to peace is better through dismantling Grand Staff and not letting everyone have one, as Seth points out additional Grand Staffs are what Gongora actually wants. Meanwhile, Kaim steals a train to catch up with the kids, though Gohtza's security does their best to stop them. At the same time, Gongora has Grand Staff itself transported and planted into the heart of Uhra. He then takes a podium and announces to the citizenry that Grand Staff is now complete. However, he then solemnly announces the untimely death of King Tolten, claiming Gohtza assassinated him during their peace talks. He also claims Tolten left him command of the country in his stead, and swears now to avenge the death of Tolten, much to the approval of the public. After this concludes, Gongora immediately turns his attention to Grandstaff and assumes direct control, weaponizing a team of loyal mages to mark the targets of the party as well as the Gohtsan army. Immediately, fire rains down on the powerful Gohtsa navy, easily sinking the entire fleet in a mighty ice storm that accumulates above Gohtsa itself, freezing the entire city in a snap. The magic extends to the speeding trains as well, as Ming senses this is another act of Grand Staff, and the King of Gohtza admits Kaim was right all along about Gongora. He orders Gohtza fire back at Uhra, and while Ming tries to talk him out of war still, Tolten's aide begins to warp Tolten out to safety, as the train rocks violently and Seth is knocked into Tolten as they both are warped away. As the Sub-Zero spell ceases the train, the King of Gohtza realizes he's lost as he freezes over alongside his guard, though the magic of Ming is strong enough to protect herself and Jansen for at least a little while. Kaim's train suffers being skewered by ice as well, though it doesn't work as they leap from their train to the one with Cook and Mac on it, just in time to avoid a glacier collision. They reach the kids in time before the frost kills them, but the waves of magical power from the enervating frost threaten to overwhelm even the immortals. Sarah quickly thinks to get Cook and Mac out of danger for now, and with Kaim's help they cut the train in half, letting the kids get away safely as they crash into an unknown fate. Back with Seth, she and Tolten warp into the center of Uhra, but some guards quickly seek to arrest them. Tolten is shocked to see they refuse to believe he is king, and quickly realizes he was used and betrayed by Gongora. Seth says he should be glad to at least be alive then, as she agrees to helping him stay alive as a now wanted man. As they move along the city alleyways, they overhear the captured pirates, including Sed, are to be sacrificed later today, as part of a blood ritual to make Gongora part of the royal bloodline. The event is broadcasted, and as Tolten recognizes the ritual, Seth spots Sed, and elsewhere, Gohtza readies its reserve force to march against Uhra using subterranean burrowing vehicles to invade the city. As the final step of the blood ritual comes along, Sed glares down Gongora, and suddenly everyone is surprised at the Gohtsan army emerging from underground. chaos and battle erupt in the city as Seth takes advantage of the situation to sneak up to where Seth is. Calling out to him, the old man glows as he sees his mother again, rushing to her like a little boy again. Embracing her baby boy, Tolten is shocked to see such an old man as actually Seth's son, but they hurry to escape now. In retaliation, Gongora now returns the Grand Staff and uses its magic to summon mighty demons around the city to overwhelm and annihilate the invaders. The invasion is quickly quelled, as elsewhere we see Cook and Mac struggling alone against the ensuing blizzard to return to the city, and Ming and Jansen getting cozy together back in a frozen Gohtza waiting for the others. Ming notes more of her memories have returned, and thinks her stress to save Jansen and expend so much magical energy to keep them both safe may have actually broken the seal on them as she realizes she sealed off her own memories long ago. She remembers how Gongora once unleashed an army of Arthosauruses and bound her, holding her country hostage in exchange for her hypnotizing herself as her magical energy was too strong even for Gongora. Agreeing was her only option then, but now she remembers everything and has a new conviction to stop Gongora again. As Jansen and Ming travel to meet up with Kaim and the others, they grow closer together, but soon find the kids collapse on the tracks, barely hanging on to life. Ming resuscitates them, but they lost track of Kaim and Sarah in the massive explosion, and while immortal, Ming mentions enough damage can still scar their souls, even if not their bodies. Back with Seth, she leads Seth and Tolten through the sewers of Uhra, finding the tunnels the Gohtza's made to invade the city. Seth's proficiencies with guns adds considerable skill to their team, as even Tolten isn't too shabby of a fighter himself, even if his confidence leaves much to be desired. As they see an opening to the surface, they see Grandstaff now flying off somewhere, and everyone is surprised to learn it can fly at all. Staying below ground, they find Uhra has been secretly keeping massive reserves of magical energy for some reason, and beyond that the docks for the Uhran army. Seth is surprised to find his own ship, the Nautilus, has been detained here, though have to fight past one of Gongora's summoned monsters to free it. Jetting away, they dodge past more monsters blocking their way out, as Seth changes configurations of the Nautilus, changing it to a flight mode that jumps out beyond the water barrier and lands safely outside. Cheering for the successful rescue and escape, Tolten is in admiration of Seth, impressed by his ability to laugh in the face of danger, and insists he wants to learn to be brave like him. Seth replies that it's easy to want that, but to do it means being a leader and being more daring, which Tolten reflects on. Over with Jansen and the others, they follow the trail of Kaim's crashed train until it leads to a cavern full of boiling natural hot geysers, and find the two of them frozen in a block of ice. Defeating another massive monster that was created alongside the unnatural cold, Cook and Mac use their combined healing powers to bring Kaim and Sarah back unharmed. Kaim even thanks Jansen for his help in saving them, as in the nearby underground lake they are surprised to see the Nautilus splash up, as Seth explains she was able to find them thanks to the unique energy of Ming's pendant she returned. Seth graciously welcomes all of his mother's friends aboard his ship, as it's also explained Tolten has been used and then left for dead by Gongora. Unfortunately, the jump function of the Nautilus was damaged in their last escape, but it's still seaworthy. Seth shares Gongora is likely now in Grandstaff, and they saw it flying south towards the land of the Eastern Tribe. As they set course, Ming shares she remembers the Hall of Mirrors 30 years ago, the place where their two worlds link, where they all prepare to leave back to their original world after 1,000 years in this one. Gongora opted to stay and betrayed them by putting them all to sleep and then putting his plan into action. They also learn from Gongora's journals that because the Tower of Mirrors is what keeps them immortal in this world with the immense magical energy of their homeworld, he seeks to build a magical engine for himself in this world so he may destroy the Tower of Mirrors and break any link to his homeworld. He also sought a seat of power to rule the world from and chose the Uhran monarchy for this purpose. Otherwise, he and the others were originally sent to this world to investigate a rumor that this world was causing extreme instability in their homeworld due to it existing in the same axis of time and space. For some reason, the spirits and souls of this world were producing an energy that was distorting their homeworld, and in order to research why, they built a quantum teleporter that would send their consciousness to this world. They chose 1,000 years as a time frame to learn about the phenomenon and lock their memories of their homeworld away so that they may naturally live like the people of this world. Gongora began remembering their mission one day and recorded it, mentioning how also the flow of time is so different from their homeworld, as 1,000 years here is equal to only 1 year of their homeworld, and so they will appear immortal. They had intended to send their experiences from this world to their homeworld in hopes it could provide clues, but one unforeseen outcome of the Tower of Mirrors is the effects it's having on this world, such as the increase of monsters and increase of magical energy. Given how much magic energy has helped this world, and how much their bodies in this world resonate with magic energy, their existence here has empowered the magic energy on this side. As they have watched civilizations rise and fall over the millennium here, they have noted one constant, and that is that the hearts and minds of the people here produce an energy that not only moves this world, but has also affected their homeworld. The virus plaguing their world may very well be the concept of feelings, as Gongora admits being infected by feelings and thus gaining tremendous magic energy in return. As such, he admits not being willing to give up such power. Along their way to Grandstaff, they visit an ancient ruin to claim a magic stone that contains the bound psychic power of ancients, finding it still overflowing with the spirit magic of the eastern tribe. Installing it into the Nautilus, the power output of the submarine increases to where they can cut past the powerful hypercurrents outside Numara and return there. However, the cursed seal of Ming's deal with Gongora also lifts alongside her memories as the Arthosauruses outside her kingdom come back to life. Fortunately, the party is strong enough to defeat them now, managing to fend off the hordes eager to resume their mission of destroying Numara. Checking in on the city, the citizens are glad to see Ming back and thankful for being saved, as they express hopes of her also putting General Kakanis back in his place. As she returns to the castle, Kakanis quickly attempts to shell the palace at night while she rests, refusing to relinquish his hold on the country. The general points out her policy of pacifism has put their country behind others in the world, and Ming admits after seeing the world that sometimes power is needed. However, the general sought power for himself, and with such a weak grasp is why he could never lead a country. Defeating Kakanis once and for all, Ming is reminded in a way her lenience afforded someone like Kakanis to run unchecked, yet still cannot return to rule until her business with Gongora is completed. Leaving stewarding of the country to her chief lady-in-waiting, she returns to the group to plan their pursuit of Grandstaff. As they now need to cross a frozen ice field, the Nautilus cannot handle it with its hull, and so Ming suggests they take the re-outfitted White Boa, which has the strength to handle such a task and can soar the Nautilus until they need its speed and agility again. As she leaves to prepare, Kine asks her if she'll return back to her country instead of their world, and while she wavers on her answer, Kine reminds her she will have to make a choice at some point. As they wait to cast off, Jansen meets with her on deck and asks her himself if she'll stay, wondering if she'll do it for her love of Numara, but she confesses she'll stay for another reason too, as she walks towards him and kisses the love-struck thief. Jansen is taken aback at the confession and feels unworthy to reply, but as Cook and Mac look on and tease Jansen, he feels more comfortable embracing her feelings. Moving on, the White Boa pulls in the Nautilus as well as the Slant Nose, and taking off Seth's engine, they begin work to upgrade the Nautilus again with enough power to even jump and fly again. Trekking forward, they find an icy landscape and seek out the ultimate black magic, pushing past the fear and awe of a blue dragon and staring down the eternity of the spell Leveler. They also visit the hidden Kelolon village to match its king in combat and learn the secret of the strongest white magic, Divide. Now making their way to where Grandstaff has landed, Gongora notes their arrival and sends his acolytes to intercept the group. The 6 mages stall the group for time as Gongora moves Grandstaff elsewhere, leaving behind a geyser of magic energy coming not from the Tower of Mirrors, but the stars behind it. As Kime figures, Gongora is using Grandstaff to move the stars themselves behind the mirrors in an effort to destroy the mirrors. Adeptly giving chase, Sed uses the boost to get through the falling debris in Grandstaff's wake and leaps up to ram into the structure, giving the group a way in. Fighting their way back up to the glass chamber, the group sees the portal back to their world, but know they still have business to take care of here. Shutting down the interdimensional wards between them and Gongora, they finally confront the treacherous sorcerer. When they ask him to explain his intentions, he explains he knows they have felt the empowering energy of emotions in this world, and the unlimited power it creates is something he not only covets, but wants to control. With such an infinite well to draw such emotions from with the people of this world, he believes this power can keep him truly immortal here, and thus has no desire to return to their homeworld. However, he knows a fight between them would be endless given their immortality, so he decides to make things interesting by playing with the mortals in the group, starting with Jansen, and using him to buy time to summon a storm of comets to knock the party down. After this, Grandstaff makes contact with the Tower of Mirrors, and stepping forward, Gongora enacts his plan to sever the link between their worlds. As Grandstaff begins to collapse from the overwhelming magic energy coming in from the Tower of Mirrors, the group makes it back to the Nautilus in time to safely escape. Knowing Gongora will be at the Tower of Mirrors, the group makes their final preparations, as Tolten seeks the blessings and earns the respect of the ancient Urin kings, and Mac confronts the ancient spirit magician, whose power he's inherited in order to cleanse its hatred and master its power. After defeating an allegedly immortal monster in a backyard arena, the team takes the Nautilus straight to Gongora's footsteps, who was already anticipating the group's arrival. As they approach and step into the light emanating from behind Gongora, the mortals of the group suddenly feel themselves burning up uncontrollably and forced back, as Gongora also reveals time has returned to the immortals. He reveals this light is like being part of their homeworld, returning them to their normal time and stripping them of their immortality. He doesn't care about losing Grand Staff at this point, still lusting after the throne of the gods, and intends to kill the party now and still destroy the mirrors. The group points out that makes him vulnerable as well, but Gongora feels his power puts him beyond that, transforming himself into a powerful magical mechanical form to challenge the group with. Jansen feels the mortal members of the team should still help out somehow, as they lend their support from afar to bolster the group, but see the light as fueling just Gongora with infinite energy. Jansen has an idea, and creates a dark shield around himself, stepping in front of the burning light to block Gongora's power source with his own power. The other mortals see his plan and join in, putting their bodies and lives on the line and urging the immortal members to finish off Gongora while they can. With the support of Jansen, Cook, Mac, Sed, and Tolten, Gongora finally falls to the combined effort of Kaim, Seth, Ming, and Sarah. Victorious, the group seeks to drop the barrier now blocking the light, but finds it's been fortified so much now that it cannot, and half of the group is trapped within. As the light that was causing time to accelerate begins to eat away at the mortals within, Gongora gloats in spite of the pain of the immortals' victory. Soon, the mortal group within is at death's door, and so Kaim quickly seizes Gongora's staff and hurls it at the mirrors, shattering them. From this, the light stops emanating from their world as the barrier drops, saving the mortals, but now the portal linking their world is quickly closing. Thinking quickly, Seth quickly tackles Gongora towards the portal, bidding a quick farewell to her son Sed as she forces them both through the gate to their home world and the portal closes. The collapse of the mirror causes a breakdown of the entire tower as the group again quickly flees the danger zone in the Nautilus. In the quiet aftermath, the group now mourns the loss of Seth as each of them recall the impact of the gung-ho pirate, a loyal friend, and endearing mother left on them all. As the game ends, the world returns to a sense of normalcy again, as Kaim and Sarah live together now with Cook and Mac in Liram's old house, refusing both Tolten's and Ming's offers of governance. Tolten has reassumed the throne of Uhra, stronger than before, and Sed continues his life as a pirate captaining the Nautilus. The group makes way to Numara as special guests of honor for the wedding for Ming and Jansen, as Tolten makes the public oath to help restore the world to its native state with love and mercy. Those they have loved and fallen along the way, like Liram and Seth, are not forgotten, as Kaim now actually looks forward to another millennium in this world. Lost Odyssey has enjoyed the success of selling over 900,000 copies worldwide.